What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Today, I was going to do this as a question time. I think we're gonna switch it up today. Let me do something really quickly. Hope everybody's doing well today. Hope everybody's actually being a part of the show. I hope everybody's actually paying attention to what's going on in the world today because it's some some sad stuff, man. It's interesting is what it is. It's very interesting what's going on, how the world's working, how people see what they want to see, how people ignore the facts of life. So I was originally going to do this as a question time live situation, but I changed my mind because what questions can be asked, really, right? What questions can I ask? Do you think Chauvin's guilty or Chauvin? Not sure exactly how to pronounce the man's name, but I'll say Chauvin. How is he guilty? Is he innocent? Do you believe him? Do you believe the witnesses? Like you can ask all those questions, and would it really matter? So today, instead, it's going to be the first episode of Raw News No Fluff. If you haven't subscribed to the page on YouTube, go ahead, go to Raw News No Fluff on YouTube, share this post, subscribe, and click the notification button for me. Oh, side note, when I get to 5,000 followers, I'm going to run a 5K. And if you know me, I've said this before, I hate running. I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at running. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm not good at running. Whatever. Judge not. At least you be judged. So I'm just going to talk about the trial and how it's going on. So with this show, if you have something to say, click on the link that's been pinned in the Question Time Live page or the Raw News No Fluff page. Go ahead and click the link, or you can click the link that's on the YouTube page and say what you have to say. We could be completely against each other. We can be completely in agreement with each other. Whatever the case may be, state how you feel. Say it. Be live with me. Be open. Be honest. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. Such is life. We're not going to agree with everybody. If we all agree with everybody, then this would be the most boring world ever in life. We may as well all look alike if we're going to agree with everything each other says. So I'm going to start. Of course, I have my notes because y'all know I like notes. I'm a note taker. Some of the witnesses made me cringe. I was like, oh my gosh, ma'am. And it's just one in particular, really. But I was like, ma'am, oh my gosh, I get it. You're nervous, but you've had time to prepare. You knew that they were going to call you, and just tell the truth. And then it leads me to saying, how hard is it to tell the freaking truth? How hard is it to tell the truth? Like, freaking hey, just tell the truth. If you feel nothing bad was done, then say that. If you feel something was bad, then say that. It's not that serious. I feel like at a point, George Floyd was on freaking trial for his own murder. And I think that's what a lot of Black people get. They become the public enemy number one, so we have to make them look bad. Oh, this person smoked weed, or this person stole a pack of gum when they were 5. Whatever the case may be, it's like they make Black people into, because criminalize them to make the criminals look less criminal. I think that's the best way to say it. And it's just baffling to me. So I'm going to go back a little ways. People kept saying from the beginning that the people that were standing, the bystanders who were saying, get off his neck, he can't breathe, let him up, leave him alone, blah, 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 should have jumped in and helped. Really? They couldn't have, because what would have happened to them? They would have gotten shot. They would have gotten killed themselves, because only in this world can you not help someone that needs help when dealing with the police. Like it's baffling to me. And I also feel like that was a white person's thing to do, because I feel like, and this is not being racist or playing the race card or whatever, but white people have a privilege that black people don't. They can get close to the police. They can threaten the police. They can go off on them, curse at them, tell them about themselves while getting pulled over or while they're in an altercation, and they still make it through. They can kill tens of hundreds of people at a time and still make it out alive. A white person could have definitely gotten close enough to possibly help Mr. Floyd. That's my thoughts. There was the off-duty firefighter lady, Genevieve. What was her name? I don't want to say it wrong. Genevieve Hansen. She was off duty, and she seemed like she was the only one off the curb. And I guess that's as close as she could have gotten. But she made an effort. The black people standing by, y'all better, your place, you can't do anything. And that's something that I think grips the black community. We want to help. But because of how society treats black people, because of how the rules apply differently to black people, we can't. We know that if we do, our lives are going to be taken. We're going to get arrested. We're going to be fatally shot in the back 7 times for helping. So it's like, it's sure they I can't even say they should have, because if they would have, again, what would have happened to them? Something that shouldn't have happened to them, like something that shouldn't have happened to George Floyd. Then there was a point where the defense was talking about how the officers were distracted because of the people were berating them, and the people were yelling at them, and the people were like drawing focus. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But if if people are repeatedly telling you he can't breathe, take your knee off his neck, that's not distracting you. That's a constant reminder that your knee is on that person's neck. That is a constant reminder that you're putting all of your weight on somebody's neck. So even if they were berating you, even if they were like yelling, what they were saying was relevant to what you were doing. What they were saying was like, oh, I am doing that. Oh, let me move. Oh, he didn't even shift his body weight. He didn't shift it at all. He didn't like, oh, let me let up a little bit. Okay, back on it. Let up a little bit, back on it. He didn't do that. So it's like, you can say that, Mr. Defense Attorney Eric Nelson or Nielsen, whatever your name is, that's really trying to make a name for yourself. You picked the wrong case to try to make a name for yourself, because it's not going to be a good name you're making for yourself. So I feel like him trying to say that the crowd was at fault it's like just you really trying, you really like grasping at air. Like there ain't even no straws there. You're grasping at freaking air and you're not catching any of it. Speaking of this defense attorney, when he spoke to, I'm going to get to Donald Williams last, because he was the witness who they were talking about. He called cops from cops. I'm gonna get to him last. We're gonna get to him. Oh, I can't wait to get to him. If the testimonies of these people didn't convince you that this man is guilty of first-degree murder, I don't know what will. If you didn't believe the video was just, oh gosh, that's a hard video to watch. Oh gosh. But you heard the testimony of these people and you weren't like, yeah, dude is guilty to the mug, you have a serious, serious problem. Now, he was on that man's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, right? 9 minutes, 29 seconds. It's 10 minutes right now. So we started talking about this, that he was on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. We're going to count together how long 9 minutes and 29 seconds is. I know it's like, oh, that's not that long, but let's see how long it really is. Okay. Synchronize your watches right now so you can know exactly how long 9 minutes and 29 seconds it's been. It hasn't even been 29 seconds since I started talking about it. Anyway, Jeremy Blackwell is one of the prosecuting attorneys, and he's doing it pro bono. He started the Black Lawyers, the Association for Black Lawyers, I believe, in Minneapolis. So shout out to you. We appreciate you. Let's see if you can. I don't think you need a Johnny Cochran this one. I mean, because the man is guilty as sin. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And then, okay, and let's go into this also. I feel like Sheldon was in a situation where he couldn't get off his neck. Not because didn't have the ability, not because he was immobile and he was just like, he was frozen like the freaking Tin Man or like the Tin Man from the Wiz. It wasn't that. He wasn't saying, "Slide me some oil." No, he was just sitting there because if he got up, then then everybody would say like, "Yeah, man, you was wrong for that. You shouldn't have did that." And also, he stayed on that man's neck to show that I have control of this nigger. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Forget these people. They can't tell me what to do. I'm the mother effing law. I'm the Mickey Ficky law. You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna stay right here. And he stayed there in spite of, is it in spite of or just in spite of them telling him to get off. Like, why won't you just get off? Get off. If you're, and let me go back and say, if you're watching this from the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be aware of when we have shows. This is the first Raw News No Fluff show. This isn't Question Time Live. This is literally a Raw News No Fluff show, because how many questions can I ask? How many people can I friggin' ask? You can't ask but so much, you know? So how we're doing Raw News No Fluff is if you want to comment, if you have something to say, you come on, you come off. Let's like guest hosts, like you watch any news show, you have people that might want to say something and you can say just that. And that's how it's going to go. So back to Chauvin, who, by the way, was able to leave the state, even though he was a suspect in a murder. How? Oh, because his life was in danger. So what? George Floyd's life was in danger also. Was George Floyd able to leave the scene? No, he was not. He was pinned down by somebody's 230 pounds, plus or minus. That's what the matter was. He could not leave. So why did Chauvin get to leave? Because his life was in danger. Get the freak out of here. That's why you know it's two Americas. Two. But I'm going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's get into the testimonies of the witnesses. Let's get into the testimony of witnesses. The link is posted on the Raw News No Fluff page. It's also posted here. So if you want to join in, please join in and voice your opinion. Say how you feel about the matter. With Raw News No Fluff, there's the whole bar. Say what you got to say. We may agree, we may not. It's cool. But let's say what you feel. Now I'm going to get into testimonies. Let's start with Captain Jeremy Norton. He's the captain of the firefighters. I don't know how you phrase. He's a captain. He's a firefighter. He's a captain. So he makes good money. He has a good job. He's been there for some time. He's come up in rank. He's done his duties. He's done his bid to be raised up. Congratulations. You made captain. Great position to have. Not mad at it. It seems like he was trying to pick his words so that he wasn't lying, but he wasn't showing the true impact of the damage his police force, firefighters, EMT buddies had done. He kept, like, instead of just answering the question, he was like, can you rephrase that question? I'm like, how many ways can you rephrase that question? Did you have interaction with anybody? What do you mean by interaction? Give me all the interactions that you had with somebody. This is why I probably couldn't have been a lawyer on that case. I'm like, just give me all the interactions that you had with somebody. Since it's such a difficult question for you, who did you bump? Tell me them. Who did you talk to? Tell me that. Who did you blow your breath on? I want to know all of that. Did you take your mask off and say, woo, and somebody smudge your breath? Who were those people? I want to know. Give us all of them. Because you know I'm talking about who you spoke to. Tell me who you spoke to and what you spoke to them about. That's what I'm asking you. But he wants to be difficult. He wants to pick and choose his words so that he doesn't criminalize his criminal colleagues. I feel like the firefighters, the police, EMTs, I feel like they're all a part of the same union, all a part of the same group. Not necessarily all friends, but they're all in the same bubble. Okay. Now, so that was Captain John Norton. And then we'll go to who was it? Let me find his name. That was him, Sergeant David Pleoger. He was the one that the 911 dispatcher phoned in and said, "Hey, there's something going on. You need to come check it out." He was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." Yeah, I'll check it out. And then he made a call to George. I mean, not George. He made a call to Sheldon to see what was going on. That's just like asking the murderer what happened at the murder. I'm not going to tell you everything. So, yeah, somebody died, man. Somebody died. I bust their lip, but that's all I can tell you. No. Okay. So what happened after that? What was in the conversation that you had? I want verbatim what you talked about, because you remember, because it has to be in your head every day, because they're talking about George Floyd every day. So you have to be thinking about this every day. What was the conversation? I want word for word. And don't tell him to turn off his cameras like that's illegal. We're having a private conversation. You're having a private conversation about a public matter. Your camera should stay on. If you're still on the scene, your camera should stay on. Don't call him on his cell phone if you have to speak to him in private so that nobody knows what you're talking about. Be open with your junk. Be real with your dirt. Hello, Jay. Welcome. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Raw News No Fluff.
Raw News No Fluff. Congratulations on your inaugural broadcast.
Welcome.
I wish you 5,000 followers very, very soon. I should have did this backstage. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, 5,000. Oh gosh. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to think about running. I hate running. But I've committed, and I'm a committer. And I've committed. So, what are your overall thoughts? Talk to me. What do you want to say?
I posted earlier this week on Facebook that hearing the 911 call brought tears to my eyes.
From Donald Williams.
From Donald Williams. Hearing him describe what was happening in that moment was traumatic. It was extremely traumatic. I think that the prosecution's, I know a part of your thought tonight is George Floyd on trial. I think what the prosecution is doing is legal genius. To bring out the fact that George Floyd was accused of passing a counterfeit $20 bill, to bring out the fact that George Floyd struggled with opiate addiction, to bring out all of these negatives.
Put it right on the table so you can't bring it up later.
And say to the jury,
this man is flawed.
These things do not warrant a death sentence.
Right.
Let's get this out the way already. So when they get up, I don't know what the defense is going to talk about because it's already out there. I do think that the problem with a lot of these police-involved shootings historically has been there's always a cloud of suspicion that allows the initial police contact. And I think we in America, even black folks, I've heard black people say, well, why is it that, we're marching and all these guys, they were either doing something illegal to begin with. If you don't do anything illegal, that means that you won't have this problem. And that's not the point.
Right.
If you do something illegal, it does not give the right for the police to kill you. And they're doing it to black people at disproportionate numbers. So I think that every time that narrative is granted, we almost give society a pass. If you do a misdemeanor, it does not mean you should die. Send me to jail. Put me on probation. Do whatever. Don't kill me. Don't put your knee on my neck for over 9 minutes. Don't do that.
Right. And speaking of, it has been 10 minutes now. So I started about 10 minutes ago for people to realize how long it's 9 minutes and 29 seconds is. It's no short amount of time. I've talked about like 7 different things in a matter of 9 minutes.
Right.
Like, it is no small thing. And then I bring up the point of the neck. Somebody had his knee on the man's back, right? Somebody had their knee on his legs, right? And somebody had 330 pounds on his neck. Like, imagine it's a neck. That's the size of a baby. You're putting, and that's a newborn baby. You're putting 235 plus or minus pounds on a baby. Because whether people want to believe it or not, it's not hard to break somebody's neck. It's not.
No.
So, and your vein, your carotid artery Pick one. For that, it's the size of that is not hard to pinch shut.
Right.
Like,
and add the fact that when you're on your chest, your breathing is already constricted.
right.
You know, you're on your chest. You've been in a scuffle with police officers, but even the scuffle part. Let me tell you something. When he was resisting, right? Getting in the backseat of that car. There is no person who can convince me that a grown man with both of his hands handcuffed behind his back is a threat to anybody.
He could have kicked him.
Even if you let him run for a mile,
there
is
no
way he was ever a threat that needed two police. Listen, sit him down, say, hey, bud, you're going to jail today. That's going to happen. You're going to jail.
Right.
You know, calm down. I'm not letting you out these kick and scream, flail if you must. I mean, what does it cost a police officer to wait around to until he was done kicking and screaming?
Right.
You're going to jail, and someone's going to bond you out, and you're going to live. But for them to act like this was a major crime, we're talking about a $20 bill that the store clerk testified he believed that George
didn't know that it was fake.
It was counterfeit. So, I mean, you have all these things, but I think that the main reason, again, is whenever they show up to the scene, big black guy, policies, procedures, and perceptions are automatically skewed. And that causes these issues.
Does it have to be a big black guy? What's his name? Justin Blake? Was that his name? What his whole back was to that man, reaching in his car. His whole back. And they were the same size. But you so trigger happy when you see a black person because you know how society works, you know how the government works, you know how the legal system works. You gonna get off. Right. 9 times out of 9, you gonna get off.
I know you're the host. Can I ask you a question? Would you be shocked if Sheldon gets off?
No.
Yeah, me either.
I would not. I'd be pissed the hell off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean hell down there where the devil is. I would be pissed off if he did, but I honestly don't see him getting off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially since, and I think he's guilty of first-degree murder. And only because so many people had said, you're killing him. You're hurt. He can't breathe. Get off his neck. They were constantly reminding you that you are causing damage to this man's system. And you still stayed there.
I don't understand for the life of me, because I learned this in the trial this week, how he became limp after 6 minutes. How the police officer, how he justifies the other 3 minutes is a lifetime.
Right.
I almost said something, but we don't laugh. 3 minutes is an entire lifetime.
It is.
For him to have not a person who's subdued but breathing, not a person who's under control but flinching every now and then, for a dead man, for you to kneel on a dead man's neck for 3 minutes.
He might have passed out. He might have just been passed out at that point. Let's just say he was passed out at that point. It don't matter. He wasn't moving.
He wasn't moving at all. I don't understand for the life of me why he didn't get up at that point. You know, when you have EMT
you want me to tell you? I said it earlier why he didn't get up.
What was that?
And this is real. It's Raw News No Fluff. Suck it up if you don't like it. You'll be just fine. Because he wanted to show that he has control of this nigga and I ain't got to get up for nobody. Y'all can't tell me what to do. I'm the police. And I'm going to show you that I'm the police. I'm going to show you that I control the situation. I'm going to show you that I have power over him and you, and you.
Uh-huh.
If they told a firefighter, Genevieve, then you should know better than to enter this. Then you should know better. Well, she does know better. She knows that she's supposed to administer aid when somebody is injured.
And so are you, police officer.
Oh no, he's above that. He has to. He feels threatened still. He feels threatened. And you talk about how they pulled him out of the vehicle. All 3 of them went down on his body at the same time, to the point where 911 operator Jenna Scurry had to call the sergeant and say something ain't right. Call me a snitch if you want. You can call me a snitch, but something's not right. You need to go check on them because they're doing something wrong.
Right. And we're getting these calls about this guy that can't breathe. Could you imagine being that 911 dispatcher or one of the other dispatchers, and you're getting these multiple calls, and okay, citizens aren't crazy, and that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe, well, this matters, these matters we're trained in. And because guess what? Although we're citizens who pay the police, who employ the police, you and I as citizens do not get you can pull it up online. They do have policies and procedures, those that don't affect security measures. They will give them to you. But I don't know what the police can't do to me. I know what feels or looks wrong. I know that kneeling on someone next look wrong, but who knew before George Floyd that wasn't a proper force move at all? Of course, 9 minutes, we'll say that's crazy. But I've seen police put their neck on their knee on people's neck before, or their back before.
That can't be. I would not think. I never thought. No part of me ever thought that was a legal use of force.
Even because if it was a minute and George Floyd lived.
No, I would think that can't be right. You're putting your neck on your knee, your body on such a sensitive part of somebody's neck. Like, everybody doesn't have the same strength. Like, everybody doesn't do neck workouts. I mean, you can do them. Not everybody does neck workouts. And I mean, maybe women necks are stronger than men's. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is, I would have never thought that was.
Talk about that next week.
Anyway, I would not think that was a legal move. And then who was it? Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman. Did you watch his testimony?
I watched a little bit of Zimmerman's testimony. I read some of it as well.
So he was he was a police officer for
a lead detective
about 30 years.
Right.
And he was like, during all the time that I've been one, that's never been okay. Because remember, the police were trying to say that that's a legal move. We can do that. We were trained to do that.
I was shocked that he was so anti what happened. Because a lot of times police, and I say this often, people don't like it. What I found from experience, sometimes it's not black and white with police. It's blue, white versus black. Because there's some black cops that show up on the scene that have the power to say, don't do this, you're wrong, out loud. They can say, no, we're not doing this.
Right.
And they don't because they're trained to stick blue. We're never alone.
Or they know the consequences of if they don't ride with their people, then they're going to be the next ones to get attacked.
Right.
But it's still, you should still do your job. Do your job.
Correct. And police unions are a strong political force.
It's a fraternal organization.
Exactly. So it was shocking to me to see that the former head detective in Minneapolis at that literally say, nope, because one, he has credibility. Two, he has contacts within the agency, and I'm sure they knew his testimony was going to be explosive. I don't see how that's not the one of the strongest witnesses in this entire trial for the prosecution.
I think his testimony was one of the strongest ones that they had. Him, Donald Williams, and Darnella Frazier. The girl who started the initial video. She was like the first person there. The teenager.
The teenager. Right. I was gonna say, I don't, because it didn't bring face recognition. Right. The teenager, they didn't show her face. Yeah. Gotcha.
No, they didn't. But the thing is how because she was saying, she said, of course, naturally, as Black people, we see our uncles, cousins, brothers, nephews. We see those people as that could have been them. Like, I'm like, Lord, please don't let my dad get pulled over today.
Right.
Because you just never know. He gonna give you his license and registration. He may look at you like you're crazy. He's not gonna answer all your questions. He's not gonna just give you information. He's gonna answer your questions. But like, what's gonna happen? But I think the part where and I hadn't heard many objections. Like, I object. But the defense did object when she said, I apologize to George Floyd every night for not doing something. But then she goes to say that he should have done something, pointing to Chauvin. He should have done something different. And then the defense is like, no, stop her. because I don't want the jury to have that. Like, yeah, he should have done something differently. It's not on her. It was on him. And then you have people like saying he's not guilty. Like, are you people stupid?
Right. It's unbelievable.
Man, look. And officially, she is scared of the police. Like, she is, I'm sure she is freaking scared of the police. And then that brings to the fact where Black people have valid reason to not be friendly, to not, you can't even be nice to them without them looking at you like, what do you want? Like, you can't even be friendly. Black people have valid reason to fear the police.
As a Black man, I don't think people understand the fear. Like,
help us understand the fear.
I'm not even sure the Black woman understands the fear that the Black man has when he's stopped by the police. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're smarter than the police officer, if you make more than the police officer. I don't care any of those things. When you're stopped by them, I had an experience maybe a year ago, and I recorded it. It's about 16 minutes, and I haven't really shared it. But I literally, it was so scary that it led me to go to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office and file a formal complaint. I've not seen that officer in my community since then, where literally I passed by the officer and he turned around and he didn't know that I was literally in front of my home. So I pulled in my driveway before he hit his lights. He was expecting to pull me over, right, or for me to run or whatever. So when I got out, I said to him, I said, officer, what's the problem? He said, get back in your car. I said, I'm home. I don't have to get in my car. Right. In my house. My hands are up. What happened? You didn't turn your lights on and pull me over. I'm in my driveway. What happened? And he said to me, he said, well, I stopped you because your tag light was dim and your tag wasn't visible. And I have to be able to see it from 15 feet out. And I said to him, I said, you passed by me going this way. And in your rearview mirror, you looked and noticed that you could not read my tag, and that's why you stopped me. And he said, yep, and I'm going to write you a citation for improper equipment. So I asked the question that I learned to ask. Can I look at my tag light? I have a 2019. I went back there with the officer, and guess what?
It wasn't dim.
It was just as lit as the sun first thing in the morning, and now I'm going off. I'm asking for the supervisor. When she gets there, she says, well, I can't say what he didn't see. So I have her look at it and I'm recording. I said, does it look dim to you? And she said, it doesn't to me. But again, this is his stop. I'm just here because you asked me to.
But you have to assess the situation. Like, you have to actually be the voice of reason. You have to actually decide. You're the judge in that situation. I think I was trying to shove stuff off like, I agree with you, but I can't say that I agree with you. So let me just.
Right. And literally there was no other reason for him to stop me. And when what made me write the report was because when he was trying to tell me to get back in the car, when I said I don't have to get in the car, he began to holler and cuss at me. You can't talk to me like that. Get your A back in the car before I take your A to jail. And I told him on the video, one day I'll show it to you. I said, cracker, you got the right one. You got the right one. I said, I'm gonna make you famous. I literally, the only reason I have not posted it because we were in Trump America's then, and I didn't want no problem with the Seminole County Sheriff's Department.
Right.
But I'm telling you, they were emboldened during his administration in ways
very.
That's why they were in the Capitol on January the 6th. You know,
right.
they were emboldened, and Chauvin is a result of that. What we see in this video, while he's looking at bystanders and he's telling EMTs and paramedics and all these people, I'm not gonna get off of a man who hasn't moved for. Let's
not forget he had his hand in his pocket. Go ahead.
Right, exactly.
He was real comfortable. He was very comfortable.
I'm not gonna, and you know, I'm not gonna get off a man who hasn't moved in 3 minutes because he's a threat. I mean, it's weird.
4 y'all and one of him,
and he's in handcuffs. He's in handcuffs right now. I mean, it was heartbreaking. Then they did like they do. They brought up the fact that he was on addiction. Mm-hmm. They brought up the fact that he had a pornography scene. They brought up all of these. Did you not hear that?
Oh no, I'm like, what? And
Yeah, they brought up all these things, and I'm saying to myself, if a white lady, if you break into her home and murder her, I've never heard them talk about her credit, her marital status, her financial plight, if she was on drugs. It doesn't matter. The fact that those things were being reported, even George Floyd was the victim of a murder. I mean,
right.
that's the end of that. He was a
But
victim of
they
a
want
murder.
to blame him for his murder. Like they wanted
Exactly.
to blame Bohem Jean. Is that his
Trayvon
name? John
Martin.
Trip.
Yeah, yeah. Trayvon
Let's
Martin.
blame the 17-year-old child for a grown man who
Right.
doesn't have anything to do with anything. I'm still waiting for him to be offed.
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't
I
be.
ain't lying.
Well,
He
this
should
is
not
gonna
be
be the
walking around comfortably. He should not be. He should not feel comfortable outside of his house. He shouldn't feel comfortable inside of his house.
right. Black is beautiful. Free Huey. If the Black Panthers were still strong, it would have been a real thing. But yeah,
Right. Can I get
it's
some of Fina
unbelievable.
Shakur? Girl, come from Cuba, wherever you at, girl. I
Right.
got your
Just
back.
come on.
Just
Come on.
come. How much
Right.
you need for a plane ticket? Do you need me to get you a boat? What you need me to do?
It is unfortunate though. It's going to be interesting to see where the defense goes. I don't know, and I'm not pro prosecution. And the reason I'm not is because most of the time we're on the side of prosecution. But this prosecutor has done such a great job of building that it's going to be shocking to me. What can they say to this jury other than this is a police officer? The fact that the EMT lady, the firefighter, the white lady, the fact that she came in her uniform.
Right. So I can prove to you that I am a firefighter. Right.
I have credibility too. That was strong, man. That was really, really strong. So I think
And then when they asked her, they said, what did they say? If people were yelling at you, would that interfere with your job? She's like, no, like I said before, I know my job. I know what my job is. I'm not going to let people yelling distract me from doing my job. Dingbat Jenny Lee's. She works with fires. Clearly, she doesn't let things distract her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she doesn't work in a room of silence that is a quiet room. She doesn't work in a quiet room. Where if somebody knock on the door, she's like,
she doesn't let things distract her.
Right. And it was just, oh. And then and speaking of how the defense is going to do, how they're going to handle when it's their time to call people. Like, who are you going to call? Really? Ghostbusters? Right. I doubt it. But Charles McMillan, the 61-year-old, who did look older than 61, by the way, the man who broke down and cried. Do you know what I'm talking about? Black
with
guy,
the white glasses.
Oh,
come on. Don't make me sad.
His it wasn't his cry that touched me. It was the whimper that got to the cry. When he said, I was like, this man, you broke these people. You have torn these people up.
When he said on the video the day of, when he's telling George Floyd, we can't win.
Right.
We can't win with them.
Just let
that. See, that's the plight of the black man. That was raw. When he said we can't win. Even if they're doing you wrong, George, just go. See, white people don't have that.
They don't know that.
Unhand me. Get your
effing hands off of me, you pig. You pig.
Right. We can't do that. We can't win. I'm pissed right now. I just got upset.
No. I said that earlier. I'm like, people were talking about how they should have done something. They should have jumped in. They should have helped George. They would have died.
It would have been
Those
a lot
police would have
Yeah, it would have been a lot of more angry people. You ever seen the video where the white lady, she's works in a local government, and her daughter and her friends get pulled over, and she
comes up.
She's assailing the police officers. So many times while watching that video, in my mind, I'm saying to myself, my auntie or my mom would have been shot like 10 times already.
Or at least beaten to death, to a bloody pulp. They may not have died, but they would have been beaten up real good.
1,000%. It is scary to hear that grown man telling George Floyd, man, listen, it takes you back to the plantation. Don't run. Don't revolt. They're going to kill you.
Right. And don't say nothing. Keep your head
Put,
down and look me in my
put your head
eye.
down, hole in my hole. Keep on.
Right.
Because and it's sad. This is 2021. This isn't yesteryear. This is 2021. And watch this. The saddest part of all of this is after this conviction, once they sentence him, we are still going to be nowhere close to where we should be as Black people.
And they're not gonna, and not too much is going to change.
Yeah,
this will set a precedent so that
right.
they can use it later on. But we're not going to be anywhere closer. For those in the back room, just make sure you're in a solid, a steady, consistent location where you're not moving around, and make sure your lighting is good. And also go ahead and share this. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page, which is Raw News No Fluff, subscribe now. Yes, please donate to the cause. I would appreciate it. Oh my gosh, yes, that would be awesome. And like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button. I'm gonna bring Terica in really quickly, and then I want to talk Donald Williams. You know who Donald Williams? You know who Donald Williams. Everybody should know who Donald Williams is. I was about to find him and say, hey, can you call me? Because we could. What's up, boo? That's a man. Yeah, we could cut that off. We can cut it all off.
That man to choke you like he was.
Heck no, we can cut that all off, but we can just. Whoop. But I want to talk about the man.
You want me to hang out in the backstage?
Yes, okay. But I want to talk about the man that was on that stand. I'll explain that later.
Okay.
All right. What's up, T? Unmute yourself.
Hi, Miss Brandy. What's going on, baby?
How are you? Going. It's going. Welcome to the first episode of Raw News No Fluff.
I had to cut that thing off.
Okay.
I couldn't watch it because it's like the more I watched it, I'm like, wow, what if that was my son? Mm-hmm. And it brought tears to my eyes, and it's like that's just the human part of us. Like, damn, they really killed this man like this. And what I want to say about the first witness that testified, he saw it firsthand. He was talking to both the victim and the officer.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, how do you keep a level head when watching something like that? It's got to be hard because.
Who was the first witness?
The black guy with the glass. I can't think of his name.
Black with the white glasses. Charles McMillan.
Yeah, older dude. He was just, I think he was just passing by or saying something.
Right. And you can see in the video that he stopped in the street and looked. And Jay was just talking about that. How he told him we can't win.
And I'm like, what strikes me the most about the whole situation, you didn't allow EMT to intervene and give this man some aid. That right there says
we know
a hell of a lot to me.
We know how we want this to turn out.
Yeah. And I don't care how he dressed it. My thing is, I don't give a crap if George Floyd did drugs every day of his life. That's his business.
Right.
That wasn't his cause of death. Everybody knows that. Anybody know when you put pressure on the esophagus, what does it do to the windpipe?
Yeah, it closes it, right.
No air. He had his.
Go ahead.
He had his full-blown knee in this man's neck and pressing down every time the guy spoke. I don't understand how he's a threat when he's just crying for his mama. Mama, they're trying to kill me. Mama, they're trying to kill me. How is he a threat? So you use the fact that he's a big guy as an excuse.
They didn't even use that as an excuse. They used that he's a black man as an excuse. His size didn't even matter. It's just the color of his skin that's the threat.
Period. And it makes me sick because I look at my white friends. God bless them. They are wonderful people. People that I never had to question their loyalty. People that treat me better than most of my black friends do. And I'm like, damn, this is like some of us between a rock and a hard place right now. But when I get to the ones that always saying all lives matter, all lives aren't in danger, sweetie. Like the Asian situation. I understand y'all want us to come to y'all aid, but how can you jump to another subject when you haven't handled this problem? A problem that's been going on in this country since the beginning of time.
Right. My thing is, people are like, you can't keep tabs. No, I'm keeping tabs. If we weren't supposed to keep tabs, then I can go to the bar and drink all I want, because tabs shouldn't be kept. But tabs keep record, and you need to know you ordered this, and this. This is what you ordered, and this is what you got for it. But nobody. We're not gonna get on that, girl. Don't get me on that.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Right. So, go ahead.
It makes me like, because I have a black son. And it's like every day, nobody knows what the nerve-rattling feeling you feel until it actually happens to you. It's like we all in our, okay, you'll get over this, you'll get over that. Sweetie, that's why they say you can never walk a mile in another person's shoes. That's a believable statement. That's a true statement.
Right.
Because
the police, I've had the situation where the police pulled a gun on my nephew. And my sister had to jump in front of him. Like, there was no reason for you to pull a gun on him. Okay, I don't know whatever. But he didn't have a gun. He wasn't fighting you, but you put a gun on a child.
NYPD did the same thing to my son. And I had to go to Elmhurst Hospital. I say, my son is running around in the gym screaming, I want my mama. And how is he a threat to you? So you take him to the psych ward, you put him in handcuffs. Because
the black family is broken. That's why the black family is broken. Clearly he's crazy. He's calling his mama. No, he's crazy. The black family is broken. He doesn't even have a mom. He doesn't know who his mom is. She's on crack somewhere.
Yeah, and the sad thing about it, I look at some of the black people that's sitting here in that whole situation, turning a blind eye. I'm like, yo, we the same color. You think they're gonna give a fuck about you when you No. You don't think they'll do the same thing to your son? I don't care how cute in that dress you think you look or in them heels. Guess what? Your skin is the same color as mine. And when it comes to
perceived as the same level of threat, or it's not even you're perceived as the same level of threat. You're perceived as less than. Your value, you have no value to me. That's why I can do what I want to you.
I think racism, the reason racism plays a big part in our society is because some people don't know the truth. They are not taught the truth. They're taught what history books tell them, but whose truth is that? Definitely not our truth.
And they don't want to know, or they don't want to know the truth.
Like, this is a very sensitive subject, but I'm gonna hit it because the truth needs to be told.
All right, Raw News No Fluff. Be real.
Black folks owned everything they had their hands on. Turpentine businesses, sugar mills, everything.
Land.
Paper factories, land. We lost everything when we started integrating with the whites. We lost everything. Everything. And
it's like a body. It's like a body. You let a virus in, it's going to take over. If you don't fight it quickly, it's going to take over. And I'm not calling white people a virus. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
When you let something in that's intent on destroying your organization, that's what it's going to do.
There it is.
But we're trying to be friends with everybody. We're trying to be inclusive when everybody else is exclusive. And you can see the exclusivity, for example, like when the Asian women were beating a black woman with brooms.
Yeah.
Like, are you? You just beat them women, but now you want them to come over there and help you, but you didn't help them. Okay, let's say they didn't pay their bill. Let's say that. Call the police on them. That's what you do.
Exactly, because that's a professional business. Exactly.
So I'm gonna bring Jay back in because I want to talk Donald Williams particularly for these last 10 minutes.
Ash? Tell Ash to bring her tail.
Oh, she's not feeling well. My regular, she's not feeling well. So guys, send a prayer out for her. Just send a prayer up. I spoke with her earlier, so I want to talk for these last 10 minutes about Donald Williams. What's up? Unmute you. Oh, you okay? Both of y'all want to mute. So I love it. That's cool. I dig it. What did y'all think about Donald? I'm going to call him Mr. Williams. Let me go back and say this real quick for for Jay. I said that man on the stand because I feel like he showed society not the stereotype of what a black man is, but what a black man is. A black man is controlled. A black man is black people are very not calculating, but we're very strategically thinking people. We've had to be that way since slavery. We've had to decide, we had to think about what we were going to say, how we're going to say it, why we're going to say it, and what was going to stay behind it so that I could further bring the point home. I thought him on stage, him on that and on the stand was beautiful. Especially when the defense was talking to him. What did y'all think about him? Panel.
Well, I can't really say what I think because as I was watching it, I'm like, you know what? Let me turn this junk off. I ain't feeling it today.
You missed. Well, listen to this.
But I saw him. I saw who you were talking about, though.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna send you backstage and have this conversation with Jay, but don't go anywhere, okay? All right. Jay, what did you think about him?
So I think that his presentation was so well measured. I agree with you that his presentation was so well measured and he was so in control that every time the defense attorney tried to catch him up, lead him down a path, box him in, not make him seem like he was an expert, especially when he was in his martial arts talk, he was so measured and would not be tricked. And lawyers, from someone who aspired to be one, prosecutors, defense attorneys, they ask questions to trick you. Like they don't say, "Is it true?" They say, "Is it not true? Is it not true that you such and such?" What does that even mean? Is it not true? It literally showed that the moment and the gravity of this moment was not lost on him.
Right.
He knew he had to be on his A game. He knew he could not be the big angry black guy. So even when he had to rebuff the defense attorney, he did not do it in a way to turn the jury off.
I feel like he's not an angry guy.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just not an angry person. So I don't think he was thinking, okay, I can't be the angry black person. I'm sure he was thinking, I have to be, they're probably going to paint me as an angry black person, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to tell the truth. And I feel like his honesty was so beautiful to his credibility across the board. Like he killed the defense's efforts of trying to make him angry.
Right. I think one thing that I liked as well, when he kept saying my sensei, when he kept talking about martial arts, because that is not a area where you see it's predominantly taken on by black people. Mm-hmm. So not that black people are animals, not that we need to be humanized, but for me, he came off as an expert and therefore became a credible witness on what was happening with the chokeholds.
What was violent, what was,
Right. When he kept correcting that defense attorney, no, you're confusing this and this.
Right.
That matters to a jurist. You know what I mean? He did not allow the weight of the moment to overwhelm him, but he rose to the occasion. Now, I'm not sure what he's like as a person. I'm not sure if he was trained for things like this, but I left thinking this is, like you said, this is a man. You ever seen that book, the scene from where I think it's South Central or Juice or something like that, when the Muslim in prison looks at the white guy and says, "He's a man, Buddha." He's a man.
I do not know what you're talking about, and I hope I never see that.
That is a man.
I think the way the defense handled him made him look even better. Because the defense would have just asked normal questions in a calm, because the defense got upset at a point.
Oh, 1,000%.
He got upset at a point, and I'm like, ooh, your slip is showing. Like, if he would have handled him differently, if he would have remained calm or calmer than Mr. Williams, then he would have been able to make Mr. Williams look angry. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely. And to the point where he said, I had to call the cops on the cops. Now I feel like they were looking for, see, black people don't like the cops. Black people are always angry at the cops. Because I've had a run with the cops. I don't want to talk about it, but I had a run with the cops before. And it shows that he was not anti-police.
Right.
Because I was calling the police on the police.
Why did he call when they asked the question?
Oh, yes.
They asked the question, why did you call the police? And he said, because I felt like I had just witnessed the murder. Now they got to run the jury out, or they got to object. Hey, you can't say that. But listen.
But that's what I witnessed. He witnessed, actually felt he witnessed a murder. And then they said, why didn't you talk to the police that were already there? He was like, I felt like, what did he say? I couldn't talk to the police because I didn't feel like they were human, basically. They were animals at that point. They were not being rational. They were not using reason. They were just doing. And I was like, that, sir, that right there, you called people on animals. You called humans on people who you felt were not real. Like, just, I was like, look, if your testimony alone should have been like, okay, murder one. I'm serious. Murder one.
Right, these guys are guilty of murder.
Period. And then the last thing I want to talk about with Mr. Williams was when the defense kept asking, he said, you called them a bum 13 times. He was like, did you count 13 times? He's like, yes. He was like, well, then that's what I did. If it's on the video, that's what I'm not, it's a video. Why would I say no? And it's on video. I don't know how many times I called him a bum.
Oh yeah, 1,000. Well,
he's a bum. Go ahead.
When he was looking through his notes, when at one point Mr. Williams was looking through his notes while he was talking to the prosecutor. When the defense attorney comes up, he's looking at his notes and he's like, "What are you reading there?" He's like, "My notes." He was like, "Do you need them?" He was like, "You're supposed to be testifying from your memory, but you can use notes if it helps you to remember. But we just have to let the court know that's what you're reading." And I'm saying to myself, and so they go around a little bit, and the defense attorney says, "Do you need the notes?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he asks, Your Honor, he needs the notes because you can't read your testimony. You have to testify from memory, but you can't have notes.
I have bullet points.
Right. And so I thought a part of that by the defense, which I think was a bad gamble on his side, was to frazzle him, to make him then feel like he had been chided like a child or disciplined, to get him off. He's breaking the rules. He's not a rule follower, yada, yada, yada. But even in that instant, if you go back and watch that exchange, Williams was cool, calm, collected.
Right. I think I probably missed that beginning part of it.
Yeah, he was cool, calm, and collected even during that exchange.
So when he was like 13 times, you called him 13 times. I was sitting there hoping that Mr. Williams will say, okay, so numbers matter to you, right? Numbers are very important to USC. That's great. Okay. I called him a bum 13 times. How many times did George Floyd say, I can't breathe?
I can't breathe. Mama.
How many times did he call for his mom? Because I'm sure those numbers matter way more than how many times I called him a bum.
Right.
You're worried about what I said just off in the distance, but you're not more concerned with what a man said that's laying on the ground with somebody on his chest. So that means his lungs are not just probably a quarter now, because again, when you're on his chest, like you said, your breathing is inhibited.
Yeah.
So when somebody else is further on your chest, so you are on your chest now, like your body weight is on your own chest, right? When somebody was on his legs, that's preventing a flow of blood also because you have your femoral artery in your back. I'm not saying that that's what was happening, but I'm saying like you're still
It's definitely
constricting him. And then you have a 200-pound boulder, dead weight, because remember his hands were in his pocket, dead weight on your on a newborn baby on your neck. How many times did he say, "I can't breathe"? Tell me those numbers, and then we can talk about the numbers that I have. I was hoping he said that.
Right. Because yeah, but the defense attorney, God bless him. I don't know how much they paid him. He had a tough job to do the whole time because there's no defense for this.
He wanted to make a name for himself, and he's going to make a bad name for himself.
Right. Literally, he should have said to this guy, "Hey, man, let's see if we can get you a plea. Maybe they save your life."
Right.
This is, but that's not reality. You know, I'm anxious to see how it's going to turn out. I know that they ended early today, sent the jury home early because they're ahead of schedule, and I'm hoping that the prosecution will rest by Tuesday. To get the defense up, to see where they can go. Are they going to call this police officer? Because he's going to have to explain.
I doubt they call him up.
How do you not call him? Someone's got to explain what he was thinking about for 9 minutes and 26 seconds.
Right, but he also has to say that, yeah, I had my hand in my pocket. Yeah, I looked at everybody and heard everybody, because he was looking at people's eyes when they were saying get off his neck. He was looking at people. You can't say I was zoned out.
Right.
Because then that's murder. What's that? Murder 3?
Yeah.
If you zoned out, so you're guilty of that. What can you say? But I want to bring Terica back in, and I want to talk to you both about what I'm going to read, talk about last. Like, I just want to hear your final thoughts on it. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back, Terica. So I want to know that correctional officers in Ramsey County back in June 2020, they sued Ramsey County for being prohibited from the floor that Sheldon was being held on. But they won't prevent white cops from killing black people. But they sued because they were prevented from going to the floor, going even on the floor that Sheldon was being held, and they could not guard him. The superintendent, Leiden, said that no officers of color, no colored officers, can go on the floor or guard George Floyd. What are your just final thoughts as it shows how police and even correctional officers, how they band together to protect their own? And again, this is Raw News No Fluff, not question time. So you can be as real as you want. You can say whatever words you want. Speak your truth.
So, as someone who's had a vast majority of experience with police officers and correctional officers, I often say that I don't believe it's possible for any of them to go to heaven. The culture, the culture.
You have to sit back on that one.
Yeah, the culture of hurting people around and you buying into the idea that you're better than them because they got caught and you didn't. The way they treat people and the way the system is built. Listen, I know prison is not supposed to be jail, and contact with law enforcement is not supposed to be peaches and cream, right?
Well, ask Martha Stewart and Kathy McLaughlin or whoever that lady is who did the
right. But there is a huge disparity on how black people are treated, even incarcerated. And watch this. The greatest crime is that if you are a black person and your people are not visiting you, writing you, calling up there, they know it and they treat you as such. I mean, I have horror stories that I can share. I won't tonight, but literally, I found that even black officers treat you. And I used to say to myself,
I know one.
Black women. I used to say to myself, and I have said, and those of you who know where I'm going, if you know, you know. I've said to correction officers, police officers, especially black women, you got a brother, a baby daddy, an uncle, or a cousin somewhere in prison today. Every black woman you know, 100% of them. You know how I know that's true? Because over 500,000 black men are incarcerated, and half of the black male population in the world are incarcerated. That's a staggering number. And so for us, we have to not give up on our people that have 20, 30 years. We have to be aware of what's going on. We have to prison reform starts with family reform. And I'm telling you, it is a sad day, and God knows I won't call any names. I'm this close, but there are some people that I know who are in corrections, and what I used to say to correctional officers, and I didn't understand it, and what I believe black officers should say to their white counterparts when they're harassing people. At the end of the day, this is a job for you. Like, this is an act. That whole correction officer thing, when they go home, they're not officers. When they go to church, you're brother so-and-so. You're deacon so-and-so. When you with your girlfriend, you the raggedy boyfriend or raggedy baby daddy. When you with your brothers, your sisters, all that authority stuff, it's a job. It's a 9 to 5 job. They're actors. You act as if you're better than people. You call them inmate because that's what the county has taught you to do. You tell them to do stuff. You don't boss people like that in the real world because you know
and you long to be a police officer.
Exactly.
You're trying so hard to be a police officer.
You're trying so hard. You ain't got no badge. I mean, you don't have no gun, no car, but you around here ripping up people's, and it's a job. You go home. And one thing I never understood when I was incarcerated was how normal people could not say to their coworkers who were doing too much, hey man, you know, these guys have to live here 24 days, 7 days a week. Give them a break. Because they could do that. They could say,
they couldn't because they were prevented from going to Chauvin's or Chauvin's floor.
Right. But it's scary to me that this white guy got more protections than the average black guys get when they go to jail. Ain't nobody there keeping, or even
the non-average black guys.
Right. And there's nobody there keeping. You can be a correction officer and ride up to your job with your Confederate flag on your truck, and then come and harass me for a 12-hour shift. There ain't no protection for me.
Right.
Why do you think most prisons in Florida are in towns that are small, that are redneck, where plantations were? That is not by accident. That the panhandle is full in redneck valleys. That's why our prisons are. You know why? Those guards are descendants of slave owners. They most prison employees, they pass it on. Look it up. They pass it on to their children. They've been handling black folks. They've been handling slaves. If you look at the road crews and the trash crews that are employed by the state, do you think it's a coincidence that as slavery was abolished, more black people were put in jail? They had to get that same free work.
Right.
That's all that is.
And that's where the police came in. They were slave catchers. They weren't
absolutely
protectors of the law, because let them tell it, white people are all law-abiding citizens. They do no wrong. Yep. So why do we need police? Oh, we need black people. Terica, what are your thoughts on the Ramsey County correctional officers that sued because they were being prohibited from?
Well, Jay pretty much said it all. I mean, my thing is, it's deeper than the corrections officers.
Mm-hmm.
Until we wake up and realize the justice system was not designed for us, not designed by us, not designed to protect us. Like Jay said, they're gonna protect their own. And it's just a coincidence that every prison is overpopulated with more black men. You have to look at the fact that, like when he said they were slave owners, slave catchers, yes, there is a lot of disrespect to the integrity of what that badge truly means. And half of them sign up for it because, yeah, I could do this to a nigga and get away with it.
Right.
That'll be my way out. And it makes me sick because it's like slavery all over again. We already being exterminated. We already being eliminated. I think what has to happen, we got to start getting to them polls and voting these biased people out of these positions.
Right.
Otherwise,
on the local level. On the local level.
Right. That's it. You got to crawl for your walk, because this is a pretty big step. We talking about a whole country here, right. Not just one state. We talking about 50 states plus the territories. We got to start going to them polls, and it's the same way we can sit there and talk shit to our neighbor and about our neighbor. We can run down to them polls and make some noise. Okay, we don't agree with this. This needs to happen. We can start signing petitions for this. Start weaving them rednecks up out of there, because guess what? This is gonna continue. Which generation is gonna be bold enough to break this cycle?
That's what we need to find.
We talk about it. We talk about it, but for so far we ain't been about it.
Right.
We have marches, we have protests, but guess what? We ain't stood up yet.
I think the marches and the protesting, yes, we should do it, but I really think that we need to boycott. And it's not that we need to boycott a particular place. We need to boycott somebody who has power. We need to boycott like an airline or Walmart. People who have, because Walmart brings in more money than the U.S. together, period. Like their income is greater than the U.S. So it's like if we boycott those companies, they're gonna be like, "Hey man, y'all need to change this because the black people aren't coming to spend their money here, and it's causing me to lose money."
Same with Amazon. Look at Amazon. Out of nowhere.
I don't know if I'm boycotting Amazon, but he cares. Go ahead.
African Americans are some of the greatest consumers in this country when it comes to spending, and that is exactly where it's going to matter. It's going to matter in the dollar. Look what's happening in Georgia.
The voting
thing, and how they're, and I don't know if you're going to scratch on this topic later, so I won't go too deep into it. But the major baseball league made a major decision today to take a major event out of the state of Georgia. Delta Airlines put out a statement saying one thing. Then I don't want to get too deep into it, Brand, because I know you may hit it again later. But Delta Airlines put out a statement, but it was the black dollar was so powerful. They then, the CEO had to go back and take on Governor Kemp and say, you know what, this law is wrong. You know why? Because he understands that as much as white people fly, you can't turn your back on black dollars anymore. It matters.
Right. And the thing is, but Delta also, I believe I read where they allegedly contributed some money to that whole campaign.
About
the voter restriction.
The first statement they put out was a patty cake for it.
Right. So you can't come now and say, oh no, we're against it. But you've already put the wheels in motion. You already dropped the crap on the ground, and now it's rolling downhill and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You said like Starbucks? Right. I don't know why black people still go to Starbucks. Why?
Starbucks after the George Floyd.
I can explain why Delta's doing it though.
Well, Starbucks, for one, just because y'all got a black CEO or whoever she is, doesn't make up for what you did. I don't know why people go to Starbucks. I don't know.
Well, when they came out and said that no one in their company, because Starbucks, they wear the pins, they wear all kind of political pins, but they said you couldn't do Black Lives Matter.
I know an airline that does the same thing.
It was the backlash, though, when folks start saying, Starbucks, are you crazy? All this going on with George Floyd, and you won't let these people protest. Then Starbucks came out and said, hey, listen, our employees, they can say Black Lives Matter. I will say this, and don't fall out with me. The fact that they did make about face, because I had been told not to go to Starbucks, and I wasn't going. When they did make the about face, I started going back.
They made an about face for that reason, but you may I may put on makeup. But when I take this junk off, I don't look. Well, I think I look the same. You know what I'm saying?
But you still brandy though, right?
Right. But I can make myself look like something else. But when I go home, or like you said, Donald Williams, you don't know how he is in private. But when he was on the stand, he looked very controlled. Absolutely. Starbucks did the exact same thing. They sprayed some perfume on crap and was like, "Yeah, we'll get them now. We'll get them niggers now."
And see, that's what they didn't look for. They didn't expect him, because he was a black man, to have self-control.
Right. We were talking about that. They tried to piss him off. from
I
jump.
wanted to hear Terica say why Delta was making their about face.
Well, see, the thing is, Delta is the biggest airline, and their base quarter is in the Southeast region. It's in Georgia.
In Atlanta. It's in Atlanta.
Yes,
yeah.
It's in Georgia. Now, I personally don't like Delta. I hate them. But at the end of the day, if you look at the Southeast, and if you look at most of the pilots, some of the pilots that are based in the Southeast region, they're Black women. Yes, they are Black women.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many.
Two of the you can look them up. I think one of them name is Stephanie. Yeah, they're Black women. Two of the big time captain pilots in the Southeast region. They're Black women, and I'm like, well, I'm not surprised because Delta is big in the Southeast.
Right. I don't have a problem with Delta. I don't have a problem with any airline as long as you get me where I'm going. I don't like
Delta. I'm gonna be straight with you. I hate Delta.
But my thing is, you know why they're making these laws in Georgia. You know their purpose. You can't, like, even if you gave $14,000 and you're a $14 billion company, you're still contributing to something that isn't
hatred
ethical. Right. It's hatred.
Was it because of that bathtub law in North Carolina? Did that have something to do with it?
So what
bathtub law? I don't know nothing about that. What is bathtub law, real quick?
No, because I was reading about that on Facebook, and I'm like, y'all just talking, or y'all just making up stuff?
What happened is the state of Georgia passed a sweeping voting rights act that basically disproportionately affects Black people. One of the major things that they did was they said, whereas they used to use signatures to verify people's voting logs, now you have to present a picture ID. There's so many Black people in the state of Georgia that don't have picture IDs, whether they were caught driving without license, whether they're old and can't get the resources. You know how hard it is to get ID in Florida. You got to have a birth certificate, all this kind of stuff. Right. So a lot of people don't have them, but they have signatures on file. And so they're saying, well, this law, because it's already weighed against Black people, could be seen as voter suppression. So the governor was like, well, how can Delta be against IDs when they require everybody going through their airport, getting on their plane to produce one? So they should, I mean, it was crazy, right? And so
you don't well, that's different. I'm not going, nobody's going to blow up. If anybody's going to blow up a voting booth, it's probably going to be a white person. It's not going to be a Black person that's going to blow up the booth. And we didn't know who's traveling internationally anyway. Like the America. Go ahead.
They changed the hours of early voting to shorten the days, whereas it greatly affects Black people because Black people work more hours, so they don't have the same. And all these.
And then they cancel some days, right? You can't go on like Sunday or something.
Right. All these kind of things that disproportionately affect Black people. So people see it as a Jim Crow for the 20. As a matter of fact, Joe Biden actually called it a Jim Crow law, which is strong when the president of the United States says that.
I'm not a fan of Biden right now. He need to take these student loans off me. Go ahead.
Right, but he basically said this is Jim Crow like, and the Republican Governor Kemp is saying this is not voter suppression, this is voter security. And, and the fact that they're using Donald Trump's lie to change these laws shows that this is racist.
Let me say this. Kemp should have never been governor in the first place. I don't think you can run for a position and you're over elections. You can't be the supervisor of elections and not expect for there to be some bias. Right. You can't expect for you to be on the straight and narrow, because if you want to be on the straight and narrow, if you want to do things right, you would have been like, I'm going to step down as supervisor of elections. So nobody thinks that I've done anything out the way.
Asked him to recuse himself and he refused not to.
Of course, because he had plans. He knew what he was doing. Stacey Abrams, you Georgia governor to me, girl. Anyway, let me go back to real quick, because we went over my time that I had slotted, but that's okay. I feel like going back to the correctional officers and them not allowing them to go on his floor was to show that they were already ready to protect him. The police union was like, we're ready to, we have your back already. Don't worry. And that was just the first step of having his back. We got you here. We got you here. We got you here, 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 here. But now you at this trial, and good old Zimmerman said, we ain't got you here. The paramedic who had the cauliflower ear, who was a wrestler in his day, you know what I'm talking about? He was. I looked at him. I was like, okay, you're a wrestler. He ain't have his back that day. Mm-hmm. The 911 operator did not have his back. And it's good to see that people are actually being honest and open about what they saw. And it does help that there were so many angles of footage.
Yep.
That helped. So, note to Black people.
The truth has been exposed. The question is, what are they planning to do about it?
That's the question. But note to Black people. You need somebody here filming. You want somebody here filming. You want somebody over here filming. You want somebody over here. Don't just be in one area. I need y'all to circle around and get all angles of that joint because it helps with people lying on the stand. You can't lie on the stand because that's you right there. You walked over here. Like they had so much evidence of just pictures. This is you. This is you. This is you.
If they had known that camera phones would have evolved to this,
oh no, they would have never put cameras on joints.
They'd have never put cameras on a phone.
Heck no.
They would have never put, and I was talking to a lady a couple weeks ago. She said the worst thing they did was allow the normal person to have access to, and with going live on Facebook and stuff, even if you get my phone and break it, there's a record. You can get my phone and throw it in the garbage can. There's a record because it's on there. I'm telling you, that is a benefit. That's why police officers were fighting these body, because I didn't know why they were fighting body cams. I'm like, body cams can help.
It's protect you. It's to show you that you're doing the right thing.
I was so crazy. I'm thinking, body cams, could you imagine every time somebody lies and says the police beat me up, body cams would show no, they didn't beat them up, so they don't have these frivolous lawsuits.
Oh, but they were beating them up. That's why.
Right. Who knew that it was going to show that the whole time they have been killing people in cold blood?
Dang it. They're going to know our truth. Your slips are showing.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is done.
So, anything that you guys got going on? Hope you guys tune in for more Raw News No Fluff. Oh, real quick. Oh, do you guys have anything? Right. Yes, please. Yeah, donate to the cause.
Yeah. So,
anything else y'all wanted to say before I cut this out? Before we end our show today?
Thank you for your consistency with it.
All we got to do is show up.
Right.
All we got to do is start showing up. Yep.
You got to show up and show out.
Basically, like Jay touched on everything, man. I mean, he hit it head on. And until we get ready to do something about it, it's going to be the same result.
Absolutely.
Right. We need to show up and show out like Donald did, because he showed out.
Just like the same God that put us on this earth, we need to go back to believing in him and trusting in him.
I just want to say this. I know we don't give birthday shout outs on Raw News No Fluff, but Brandon had a birthday last week, and we say happy birthday to her. All right.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks. Happy birthday to me. If you want to give me a birthday present, donate to the show.
You get old, Brandon.
Cash out.
You get old.
Your mama getting old. Go on somewhere. Let me remove. Boom. So
my mama is old now. Don't tell nobody I said that though.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Mr. I am George Floyd. I am Breonna Taylor.
Hello.
So I look forward to that trial. They need to redo that. It's so many names. Girl. Stand your blank. Anyway.
Take care.
Stand your blank got killed for smoking a cigarette. Huh?
Take care and thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
So, welcome to Raw News No Fluff. Say what you want. Say how you feel. Be real. Be you. Because we're not here to patty cake. We're not here to play games. We're not here to walk on eggshells, and we don't beat around the bush. There is no bush here, and we did not go to school to walk on eggshells. We did not learn how to walk on eggshells, and we're not going to learn today. Okay? If your feelings get hurt, your feelings get hurt. If you're triggered, you're triggered. Click the link, join the live, and say what you got to say. You get your 2, 3, 4 minutes of fame, not 4 minutes of fame, but your time to say what you want. I'm all for it. We don't have to agree. We can't agree. Either way, the truth is there. The news is there. Y'all remember a time when the news actually gave the news and they didn't like filter and pick and choose what stories they were going to say to trigger people, to upset people, but they gave the news? That's what we're doing. We're giving the news. We're giving what's really happening in this world without playing. We're not doing all of that. Give me the news. Save the fluff. If you haven't already, please go to the YouTube page. It's Raw News No Fluff on YouTube, which is where we have our Question Time Live. We have Being Seen on Social Media World, and we have Raw News No Fluff. Go there, subscribe, comment, and like. Also, click the notification so that you can get notified on when our next shows are. If you want to join, again, you just have to click the link and be ready. Also, if you have a subject matter that you want us to talk about, you can either do info@rawnewsnofluff.com. Again, that's info@rawnewsnofluff.com. If you have topics you want to talk about, we'll talk soon. I enjoyed having you. We'll look forward to the next show.